Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Uncensored AEW Uncensored Podcast. I'm Bill, my boy Alan here.
Heyo.
So, go the talkings and goings ons of AEW for the foreseeable and previous future, past and future.
Yeah, it's been a bit eventful since the last time we chatted.
Yeah, it's a little
Uh,
bit.
I was very happy to see some old school Jake Roberts, which really took me back to the mid '80s, back when he first showed up with Damien, and I kind of got a lot of those nostalgic feelings going seeing that this week.
Yeah, it was really old school, if anything. Especially the innuendo in it and all that. In this current culture of PC culture and all that, uh, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the him laying over her, missionary
Yep,
style,
yep.
and then the snake going down by her crotch. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, I'm thinking that considering where we are in today's day and age, there's going to be a lot of complaints that are going to be coming in about that.
Yeah, I haven't. I honestly haven't seen much yet, but I can imagine outside the wrestling community. But I gotta be honest, I've seen certain things that people complain about. I did see one complain about it. Everybody's kind of ripping the guy, but in general, I haven't seen many more. But it's like I notice even in the wrestling community now, it's like if somebody does something, they all jump on it on PC style.
Yep.
Like, but whatever. Oh, it was like the Cody chair shot. It's like when he took the chair shot and it kind of caught him in the back of the head and he split open. I remember there was a lot of crybaby shit about that, and it's almost like I hope they don't listen to that too much and let it stop them from doing things like that. Because
Yeah,
that's what makes it exciting.
yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, this is supposed to be. This is where you come up with the whole sports entertainment versus actual sport kind of thing, and we'll get into that later with the whole athletic commission hoobaloo. But at the end of the day, this is a show, and like any show, you will have a stunt go awry or something will happen on set, and they'll make into the show, make into a movie, and it's part of the show. And it is what it is. You're not going to have a whole bunch of complaints are going to be showered down after that. It's the price of doing business, and that's just what happens in the normal course of doing filming of anything can happen, particularly
Right.
when it is a live show.
Yeah, and that's what makes it fun too. Is it's being something goes awry or something is a little more realistic. It's that much more interesting. Brings a lot more craziness to the show. That's kind of what I like about the whole AEW versus WWF model or WWE model of scripted versus unscripted. It's well, let me rephrase that. Scripted in terms of like interviews and promos and stuff.
Yep.
Yes, they all script them, but WWF kind of has that. This is what you got to say. Where AEW says maybe hit these points, say it, and let's see how it goes from there. So kind of like sometimes you have your points, and sometimes in the middle of it they could flip it up, and they won't get in trouble for it, and they won't be frowned upon, that type of thing. So it gives a little more spontaneity, a little more fun, and you could kind of see it in the promos.
Yeah, and that's
Definitely.
that's the old school way of how wrestling is done. It really Vince McMahon really created the whole concept of a true scripted promo. It never had used to be the case. You would have a wrestler go out. They understand the points they need to hit, but outside of that, 90% of what they say is ad lib. They've never gone out there with a script. And
Right.
and and I like the idea that AEW is really trying to rewind the clock and trying to make this more old school style, and that we have them go out there, they know what they want to say, they're professionals, and they know what they want to do, and whatever happens happens, and it's part of the excitement. It feels too much like a show or too much like a soap opera if it's just a scripted thing. And that's the thing too, an experienced ear we'll be able to tell when something is scripted versus when something is said on the fly.
Yeah, 100%. And I really, like you could tell when, like you said, like you look at them and they're almost like robotic. There's no, it's not smooth. It's not, it's very like, hi, how are you, Bob? It's like, there's no spontaneity in it. There's no fluidness. There's no
Right.
looseness. Obviously, there's people that can pull that off. Obviously, actors, this and that. Some wrestlers have that talent where even if it's scripted, they could pull it off to make it look, like it's just a natural conversation. But anyway, back to that whole thing. It's funny because the whole Brandy promo before that, I was like, can we stop with Brandy Rhodes already? I know everybody rips her, and I'm trying not to rip her, and I'm kind of like, I was kind of on board with her Nightmare Collective, whatever the fuck it was. I forget which one is which. They have a new Nightmare something. So I was on board with what she was doing with Kong and Mel and Luther. I was on board with that. They kind of dumped it. I actually liked the whole her being on the couch with the psychiatrist or whatever. Um, but then they went away from it. I get it. They were getting a lot of heat on it, but from there it's like she's out there fucking with Dustin. She's out there with QT. She's out there with Cody. It's like, all right, enough of her. But she cut the promo. I kind of rolled my eyes. I thought she did well. Don't get me wrong, but it was another like, Jesus Christ, she's got to be on TV. Um, and then the whole Jake Roberts thing happened. I was like, that worked.
Yeah.
Kind of smacked me in the face and said, watch, just give it some time.
Yeah,
So,
and it made her relevant. I mean, yeah, I mean the problem with Brandy is that, at the end of the day, she's not very schooled in performing in this business. Yes, she's involved in the business, very much so. But, even back before AEW, when she was performing otherwise, in, WWE and TNA, she was a glorified ring announcer to start with. And so, she's been very fortunate to be involved directly with the business due to being with Cody. And I would like to see her learn more and improve more. Certainly, I think that bump wise, she did a really good job taking that DDT and then playing it out in the ring. I mean, she did a great job there. And she used to really be terrible at taking bumps. Whenever she would actually be in a match. So it's something where I think just with a lot of these other characters as well who are still getting their training down, she'll learn. I think the more that she does this, the more that she gets involved, the more that she performs, she'll learn. Her performances though have been sporadic since everything started up here, and so I guess you may not want to see as much of her. I guess I would want to see more of her in order for her to be able to get exposure on the camera
right.
and to learn more about what she needs to do. But I do think that, yeah, the promo was a snoozer, but then she made a great stride, I think, with this segment with Britt Baker and with Jake. So, there's a spark there.
Well, I didn't think the promo was bad. I actually think she can talk very well. She's done some really good promo work. For me, it was just more of a eye roller where it's like fucking Brandy again.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of don't want to be on that because everybody's on that tip, but it's like I'm almost starting to see it now. It's almost like how everybody gets on the Dark Order. We'll talk about my opinion on that. I'm fine with them, but that's another topic. But so we could just roll over to Chris Cruz and the shit that he pulled. He had reported AEW to the Athletic Commission in Maryland after the pay-per-view with the Omega and Moxley match, the hardcore match, and the blood and all that. And they finally came down with the fine, $10,000. Um, it's just kind of like a douche. It's just a douche move. Like, what the fuck? Like, what's your problem that you have to be that guy that goes out of your way to do that? And then here, I'll just read what he said. This is from his Facebook. This has made it even worse, man. If I see this guy, I want to spit in his face. Anyway, look, the easy thing is just to say is in response to a $10,000 fine levied on AEW by the MSAC is that it's pocket change for a billionaire. I get that, but it ain't nothing. And it is public or will be on May 20th when the commission meets and then posts the consent order on its website and distributes it to all other commissions throughout the country. And keep in mind that the next violation will result in a revocation of their license in Maryland and possible show stoppage. So basically he's saying, hope they do it again, you know, especially in Maryland, and they'll be out. So then it says, in the middle of a match, I'm sorry, I cut off before. Show stoppage in the middle of a match. I don't know why he put a period there.
Yeah, his grammar isn't that great here. So.
You know, I'm definitely not you, so my grammar isn't the best, but I even know not to put a period there. The commission is on notice now that others are watching its actions. I don't understand. That kind of doesn't make sense either, but I get what he's saying. He's trying to say AEW is basically on notice that all the other commissions are watching their actions. This put AEW on notice as well, and it embarrasses the company. Like, why do you want to embarrass the company? What's your main goal there? Like, just be a fucking jerk off. By this time tomorrow, the story will have spread far and wide and will appear in mainstream publications. This is a black eye for AEW and for the business. So basically, his goal was to put a black eye on AEW and the business. I mean,
he wants attention. That's what it seems to me like. He's bragging for attention, and I really don't understand this either. Because again, we were just talking about this. Is it? If the athletic commission is getting involved, does that mean that AEW is considered an all-out sport? Or is it entertainment? Because if it's entertainment, why is the athletic commission even getting involved? If something like this happened in the middle of a football game or in the middle of a baseball game or a boxing match or something like that, then I could understand it. But he's also talking, what he's talking about here, this is no different than what used to happen in ECW. I mean, I don't really see what he was looking to accomplish here or why he was specifically just assigned to call this out other than him wanting attention.
Well, Maryland, from what I understand, has always been a state where they don't allow the blading and the blood unless it's accidental. And they've always restricted this. But, the whole thing is, even so, like you said, it's entertainment, number one. So... But I guess athletic commissions have to get involved somehow. They say it's an athletic competition of sorts, entertainment or not. I guess all forms of athletic sports are entertainment anyway. So I feel like, for me, it's just like, number one, I'm a WCW guy. I barely remember Chris. I had to literally go look up his face and go, oh, I kind of remember that guy. And that was what I watched when I was younger. So basically he was irrelevant then and he's irrelevant now. And he just... Now he, for some reason, has a fucking bug up his ass about AEW and, seems like he wants to try to be a thorn in their side for whatever purpose.
Yeah, and it really just seemed like it's him wanting attention more than anything else. I know I keep saying that, but I can't understand why else he would just choose now to just come out and just throw this out there. It's like, why? Like, what does he gain out of this?
Yeah, fuck him. Anyway, I don't want to spend any more time on that guy. I just wanted to bring it up because it's obviously part of what we're talking about.
Sure.
But so let's last week was our first episode, so I guess we kind of just touched a bunch of different things that we both kind of wanted to talk about. So one thing we didn't touch on was the tournament for the TNT title. I'm not so hot on the TNT, the name of it or what, I guess it's fine. But it's almost like what happens in the future if you want to branch out and you end up off TNT or whatever.
Yeah, it fences them in a little bit. I mean, unless they're just understanding that they're going to probably have to, or not probably, but possibly ever have to rename it. It does fence them in a little bit. And it sounds very, I don't know, it sounds very TNA to call it the TNT title. It's, I don't know.
I get what they're doing. They even, I can't remember who said it. I think Tony Khan had said it, that their whole, they felt like, maybe it was Cody. It was either Cody or Tony Khan said that they basically want, them to, that's our brand. That's almost like our brand. It's TNT. We want to show them we're with them, and that's the title. Basically like a TV title almost, where it's like, hey, we're together, man. We're both in this together, and that's kind of what their mindset was with the naming of the title, and it's cool. I don't hate it, but the funny thing is that the finals of the TNT title are going to be on the pay-per-view.
Right. So there's the irony there. Exactly. Exactly. It's going to be on Double or Nothing. And it's like, well, I kind of feel like if this is going to be like a true TNT TV title, yes, I get it that the finals would be pay-per-view worthy, but maybe to emphasize the fact that it's a TV title, why not have it on like maybe a special? Maybe TNT could have done a special
Right.
as opposed to, and that's even more revenue for AEW in that case. If they were to have Double or Nothing as a pay-per-view, but then maybe have like a special TNT TV presentation, almost like a Saturday Night's Main Event from back in the day. You have like this special event to crown the winner of this new TNT title. I don't know. I kind of feel like that would have made a lot more sense. So I agree. It's a little weird.
Yeah. So, all right. I mean, we're at the finals. It's basically Cody and Lance Archer. So, let's rewind and kind of rebook the tournament. How, in my opinion, it should have went. Number one, Lance Archer doesn't need to be in there.
He doesn't. I agree.
Cody Rhodes doesn't need to be in there. Okay, you want to put Dustin in there? That's perfect because Dustin's cachet. Dustin's a vet. Dustin is I fucking love Dustin Rhodes. I was a Dustin Rhodes fan and then when he left WCW, I kind of didn't follow him, but always been a fan of his work. So okay, how I would it's kind of obvious. It's almost as obvious as what ended up happening, but I would have had Darby on one side, Sammy on the other. Okay, you keep Dustin in, you keep Kip, you keep who'd I say? Darby, Kip, Dustin, Sammy Guevara. That's 4. You keep Sean Spears in. That was 5. Who else was in it?
Cole Cabana was in it. I would
have took him out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's okay having him in there. I mean, he's a name that's got some cachet. It allows you to give the rankings a little bit more of a I guess if you want to call him a name, so to speak. I don't know. I have no problem with him being in there, but.
See, I would have took him out. Okay, so all right. So here's who I would have kept. I would have kept Dustin in because he could have been the guy in the semis that one of the young guys had to beat to get to the finals. That instantly puts their name on the map. All right, they've done a good job with other wrestlers doing that. Cody, Jericho, they've helped guys. But I could easily see Jungle Boy, Dustin, Darby, obviously. I'm trying to think who else. You could Orange Cassidy. So what is that about? That's 4. Man, I'm trying to think who else. Sean Spears could again stay in there. Kip Saban could stay in there because he's a young guy.
So basically, from what you're saying, looking at the bracket, you would keep everybody in there except for Cody and Lance Archer. So if you're
pretty much.
So I think I agree with you that if we had to replace 2 names in there, yeah, I would go with Orange Cassidy and I'd go with Jungle Boy. I think those are 2 relatively premier names, but yet, in terms of premier for AEW, but yet names that, you would not necessarily see competing for the world title, and that you want to put them on somewhat of a second tier. This would be a good tier to put them on.
Yeah, it's a good building tier, and obviously where I would end up would be Sammy and Darby in the finals.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
I think they've done more with Darby, but they've kind of done similar things with Sammy, just not as big of a push in a good way. I think they've done a little bit better with Darby. So I personally would put the belt on Sammy. Putting the belt on a heel is always a better option.
Sure.
I mean, if you think back to aside from WWF, you looked at the NWA, the faces didn't hold titles that often. And when they did, they were little cup of tea here. You know what I mean? Like Dusty held the title for a small period of time. Tommy Rich, a small period of time. It was Flair. Ricky the Dragon had a tiny bit of time. So it's like the heel, in my opinion, should be the champ. and it should be chased by the babyface.
Yep.
And of course, you give the babyface a title. That's fine, but after a good run with the heel having the title. So I feel like it would have been better to put the belt on Sammy, and have him and Darby in the finals. I think Sammy going over Dustin would have been great. And I don't know about Darby. I don't know. Trying to think who I would put in that bracket. I mean, maybe Colt Cabana, but that's, maybe him or Shawn Spears. I mean, Colt Cabana's got a bit of a name. Shawn Spears got a little bit of a name, but he's more of a heel, so that would work out well. But anyway, so that's just kind of who I would have had in the finals and how I would have ended it with Sammy taking it. I think they really need to step up their work on Sammy and putting him out there. Get the guy some wins.
Yeah.
I think he deserves some wins.
I did like the fact that, the semifinals did have the tease that you had a possibility of a Cody Dustin final. I mean, yeah, some people may find that tired now to see them go at it again, but again, for the purposes of going at it for a title, that might have been interesting. So even though I am glad they went the route they went. Although I probably would have said in the real tier, I would have rather had Darby versus Archer as opposed to Cody versus Archer. But I like the idea that you had a little bit of a tease there. So I'm okay with how the semifinals turned out in terms of who was involved.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I don't know. I just, for me, it's. I had heard something about a good way to get Archer, like have him lose to Dustin, but then attack him and beat him up so bad that he was kind of out, and they had to move Archer up into the bracket. So that would have been kind of interesting, especially because his whole thing is the whole Caesar and going at Cody and trying to get at Cody and such. But anyway, I mean, I just thought it wasn't. I just felt like Cody and Archer didn't need to be in that. They're guys that are top tier guys that should be running at the heavyweight title in the future. I know that Cody can't, but that's gonna change. That's gonna change down the line anyway.
Eventually, yeah, yeah. But maybe that's the thing. Maybe they felt that since right now, on paper that Cody can't be going after that title, they want him to at least be, or he wants himself to be, in the picture somewhere. And that there you have it. So, but I think if we do want to talk about how we think this is going to end up, I don't think Cody is going to walk away with the title. I think it's going to be Lance Archer. I think they want. My guess is Cody is not going to hold any belt until he has the opportunity. Oh, is Eddie here?
He's in the chat watching.
Oh, what's up, Eddie? So yeah, I think that they're going to want to have it that Cody doesn't hold any belt until he has an opportunity again, whenever that might be in the future, that gets reversed, that he can go after the main title. That's my thinking. I mean, that's not if you feel the same way, but I am predicting that Lance Archer is going to win it.
I don't know. I'm really up in the air. I don't know what. I feel like Cody's at a point now where he just keeps losing. Like he wins against the guys that you kind of want to build, but then he loses to all the guys that are already built. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I mean, MJF, he's not necessarily built, but he's already a star. So, and they, it was a fuck finish where, the whole throw in the towel. Oh no. I'm sorry. How the fuck did that one end? Wow, I totally crossed the two matches up. Anyway, on to the next. Before I get myself into a deeper hole. I crossed the two matches up. I was thinking him when he threw the towel in for Cody. That was against Jericho, right?
That's right. I believe
for the title.
Yep.
Yeah. So he got the fuck finish there, and how the hell did he lose to MJF, or did he beat MJF?
Oh man, my mind's clouded now over it.
Wow. We are the worst AEW fans ever.
It's terrible. You know what it is? I can't retain the memories. What it is. Every week
Right.
bleeds into the next now. So
I can't remember. I can't remember last night. So, but so what do you got? What do you want to transition to? Anything?
I mean, I know we're a little bit of ways away, but I am curious just with what's going on right now in the world. You know, not much talk has been happening yet about Jericho's cruise, because I think Jericho's still planning to have a cruise at the beginning of every year, right? Is that something that he wants to be as a real annual event?
Yeah.
And I'm curious as to whether or not that is going to be able to happen this year or next year, I guess, because of just what's going on right now in the world and how that might affect things. Because I know that they were planning for that cruise to still serve as I guess as a temple of sorts for building storylines and for having events take place. And I don't know. I know I'm way ahead of myself, but it was just something that was popping in my head the other day, wondering if they're going to be able to do that, because cruises in general right now are really a risky proposition, possibly even going into the beginning of next year. So
Yeah, I think we'll be fine by then. I think because that was they had already started TV, right? So the cruise was October, November,
I think so, but
if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, but yeah, the thing of it is that I don't know. I feel like cruises are going to be one of the last things to go back online as far as being able to happen as an event. I don't know. I'm thinking well into the future now. I'm just curious as to whether or not they do have any kind of a backup plan in mind for another event to take the place of that if needed.
Yeah, it's true. That might be one of the. Yeah, those things are walking triages.
Yeah.
One person's sick. You hear the stories about one person gets sick and it's just like wildfire.
Oh yeah, and now you look at it now. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, especially like a life and death situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you might be right. Hopefully by next year they'll have the vaccination and and then hopefully it won't be as prevalent next year. We get through the summer this year, and then next summer and all that. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But how about Pineapple Pete getting a shot at Jericho, baby?
Yeah, it's a good way to get him on the map. It really is. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
And it's fresh blood too, as far as being able to, because it's hard to come up with feuds for Jericho that he either hasn't had before or that do feel tired from one way or another. I feel like that feels a bit fresh. No pun intended, since Pineapple is fresh.
Yeah, he number one, I think what's his name? Suge or something. If I'm him, I no longer go by that name. I am now Pineapple Pete.
I agree.
You'll get your rate just went up on the indies, baby. You better thank Jericho. Send that motherfucker a bottle of bubbly.
Yep.
The one thing that kind of annoyed me was when Jericho came out, and they've had this. I mean, I know what happens in all wrestling, but they missed. Pineapple Pete punched Jericho, if I'm not mistaken. He punched him, and the camera caught like just afterwards when they kind of started to scuffle after that.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to have some kind of inclination that keep the camera on Jericho when he's headed towards Pineapple Pete. They had to have maybe said something beforehand to the production crew or to the production crew or something. But they completely missed it. They caught the scuffle afterward.
Yeah, I mean, the camera work is still, I think, getting worked out with everything else. For the most part, I think they do a good job, but that was a miss. I mean, it is weird because you would think that, they would plan in advance what their shots need to be for every sequence that takes place. So yeah, I don't know. That was weird how that worked out. I'm wondering if that was just simply a snafu, if maybe they did have planned in advance what they were going to do with how they're going to take their shot, but something just got missed or someone was asleep at the wheel. So
I like you said, my thing is they have this experienced production crew, and yet they're still missing some of this shit.
Yeah, and I don't know what that's about. The fact that the crew itself is experienced, I don't know if it's what they're working with, or we don't know how the production truck, so to speak, or how they used to call it back in the WCW days. We don't know how that's set up. But yeah, they really the fact that they do have the experience that they do, it is odd to be seeing snafus like that take place.
Yeah. So one other thing was kind of brought up. I heard it on another podcast, and I felt this way, but I figure might as well since it's kind of fresh with the Brandy interview. This kind of going back to that, but it's not really the same topic really. She had mentioned she's the chief branding officer, and it's like I felt the same way. Stop with the EVP shit. Stop with the chief branding officer. Just stop acknowledging it. Stop acknowledging that QT Marshall works for the office, and stop acknowledging it.
Yeah,
I agree. All right, kayfabe is dead enough.
Yeah.
Don't beat it. Don't make it the dead horse that you're beating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
the only, back in the day when you and I were kids, the only office that we cared about in wrestling, we knew that Jack Tunney was the WWF president, and he was president on camera, and that was his role. That's all we needed to know. We never needed to know who all these senior VPs were, and the chief officers, and the branding officer, and the financial officer, and this and that. It gets thrown around so much, and I almost feel like it's just done to just show the prestige of the company. It's like, we don't need it. There's no reason to have to, right, like, there's no reason for kayfabe purposes to even have to be acknowledging that. It's like, right. Why? And so, fine, she's the chief branding officer. So the chief branding officer got DDT'd by one of her performers, and then another performer put a snake on her. So, outside of kayfabe, in the real world, shouldn't those two some bitches be fired in that case?
Right.
Right? It's
that
like,
shit don't go over in the corporate world.
No, it doesn't go over the corporate world. You can't do that. So that's it's like, why are you, why even draw attention to that for some? So if she wasn't going to perform, right? If she was not going to be a performer, and her role really was going to be a backstage role, and you want to acknowledge that she's the chief branding officer, fine. That's fine then. But it does make it look silly if she's acknowledging that that's what she is, and then getting involved in storylines where she's getting beaten up. It doesn't fly, and it does really feel so just fake. I hate using that word, but it does make it feel that way.
Yeah, it's the same with Bucks and Kenny and Cody. I gotta be honest. I mean, I don't really hear the Bucks mentioning it much on TNT. Don't. Yeah, but Cody's always mentioning it, and it's like, just stop, man.
Cody, it's hard to avoid it. I think Cody is hard to avoid. I mean, you're right. There's no point in mentioning it, but it is hard to avoid it just because of the fact that he is the top dog. I mean, I guess it's really hard to.
Okay.
To not mention it.
Here's the thing: everybody knows it, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. You don't need to tell the world every episode that you're you're an EVP. Obviously, on Being the Elite, they joke about it. And we are EVPs. But that's Being the Elite. That's not national television. It doesn't have it's not. It's like more of a fun spoof show, like skit show. It's not part of the actual brand per se. Yeah. So it's like, Cody's not out there on TV yelling it. The Bucks aren't yelling it on TV. Cody, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And I love Cody. I got nothing against him. He does a great promo. He has good matches. So it's not that. It's just, in general, just stop talking about it, because you're not. I just feel like it's not helping. It's not helping the brand. You know? It's almost like the same bullshit that WWE does with their people.
It's true. And I guess now, the more that I think about it, the more that he does talk about it, the sillier that it looks when he is fighting for a title.
Right.
I mean, again, it is hard to avoid, but I guess in the scheme of the program itself, to on one hand say it, and then on the next hand, then you're performing and you're fighting for something that by rights you could just decide how to set it up so that you get it anyway. It's like, I get it.
So moving on, how about that main event from this week? It's fucking fun, huh?
Yeah. I don't know. some of the main events lately, I feel like I don't know how main eventy they feel versus some of the other placement of the matches on the program.
Right.
You know what I mean? Um, but I don't know. I'm still wrapping my head thoughts about it. What are your initial thoughts? I mean, because I don't know how much it really did for me.
I don't on normal TV main event doesn't really matter to me in terms of like match per se. I mean, I think some of the more recent tape stuff should have been flip flop opening versus main event. Actually, should have
Mm-hmm.
been flip flopped.
Mm-hmm.
But with this, I felt it's Jericho and Guevara, it's Hardy and Omega. So those guys are all top card guys. So
Yeah.
plus it's a street fight. So
Yeah.
um, I enjoyed. I liked them, coming out with the t-shirts on and the jeans. Even though Guevara had fucking those skinny jeans with the rips in them. What a vagina! What a vagina, bro! Come on, man. You're gonna do a street fight. You come in looking like one of these kids nowadays with skinny jeans, bro. Back when we were younger, man, skinny jeans were for bitches.
I was gonna
Excuse,
say he looked like he was a 1980s girl.
excuse my language. I don't. We're gonna get like attacked for that, but skinny jeans for were women. Okay, I don't want to get a disparaging comment strike. Somebody will say something. Um, but like, come on, man. And then he was covering the ripped up jeans with the knee pads, but I like that though. The knee pads on the outside of the jeans,
I
it's
do
fun.
find that funny. It's it pokes a lot of fun. At least when you have someone like John Cena who he wears the cutoff jeans with the and Austin used to do it too with the knee pads. It did not look as slick as effective when the pants are not going all the way down
Yeah.
the legs. So it is
Well,
funny to watch.
the old bunkhouse matches, they used to have that where they
Yeah,
wear the knee pads on the outside of the jeans, and
yeah.
it was fun. But I was just like, I was like, come on with that, Sammy. You could do better than the skinny jeans. Number one, I'm a huge Sammy fan. I love that kid. He's a fucking superstar.
Yeah.
I suggest watching his vlog too on YouTube. But I thought the match was good. It was fun. Um, I kind of enjoyed Matt Hardy swapping characters like he did. He came back out as Matt, and then he came back as Damascus after Jericho threw him in the ice box. I thought that was fun. And then when he took the cart and then ran down Jericho, and then him and Kenny jumped in and ran down Sammy was fucking hilarious. Their faces, there's that picture online that's been going around of them in the cart. You got Matt looking deranged as fuck,
Yep.
like and then you got Kenny like wide-eyed hanging out the side, like just fucking great. And then fucking you got Sammy looking back like, oh fuck, I'm about to get it. And then he took a nice bump there, like
Yeah, he did.
people are like, oh, look, he stopped and threw himself into it. Okay, if you want to get all particular, yes, obviously, but it was as clean as you could make it look, and be fake at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The scissor lift moonsault was fucking good.
That was very good. That was a nice spot. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I felt like, from a main event standpoint, it was a very silly kind of a match, but something like that was a nice highlight. It really was.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was really well executed, and they caught him well too. That's rough. You don't want to fucking miss that one, especially coming off from that height
Yeah.
onto concrete.
Yeah.
Then of course the tables had the padding underneath. You
Of
could
course.
say the land pads. I was wondering if they were going to try to power bomb him off the scissor lift. I was wondering if that was something that might have happened, but when he went for the one winged angel on Jericho on that AstroTurf, I was like, this ain't gonna happen. And then out came Ortiz and Jesus Christ, haven't seen him in so long. Santana and Ortiz and attacked him from behind.
Yeah.
And then obviously that iconic going off air, the background inner circle on the big screen and the middle fingers up.
Yep.
That was great.
Yep. And
I
yeah,
thought it was fun. I mean,
yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It's I don't know. I liked it a lot. I don't know about it as far as being a main event, but no, it was a lot of fun.
yeah, but it's TV.
It's
So
TV.
for TV, that's a main event. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah.
the main event for a pay-per-view is the world title.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, anything else you thinking you got in your mind?
Uh no, I mean I'm curious to see what the next couple of weeks are going to bring. I mean, it's interesting that I don't think the tournament itself isn't finished until I think the 23rd. Is that correct? Is that Double or Nothing? So
23rd or 28th?
yeah,
Let me see.
so there's a couple more weeks to play with, I guess, in general, up until Double or Nothing. I don't know. I'm trying to remember the last time they had like a go home show, which I guess will be a couple weeks away. So I'm curious to see how they're going to lead up to that. Um, but yeah, no, I'm just you know me. I when it comes to AEW, I'm still getting involved with it, getting my head wrapped around it. I feel like it's almost like a new course I've been taking in terms of learning the characters and learning all the situations and everything, which has been really interesting. I really do like how fresh it feels, and yeah, I kind of feel like I don't necessarily know what I'm going to be expecting week to week. So yeah, no, I'm just looking forward to continuing with the ride with it.
That's what I like about it, because every week you watch it and you're just excited. It's exciting,
Yeah,
It's
and it doesn't
you
feel
know
formulaic. It really doesn't feel formulaic at all. It feels
right.
like you really can walk into a show and not necessarily predict what's going to be happening, even if you see like what's on the table as far as what matches are involved. So
Right.
yeah,
It's funny because I get like obviously when you listen to podcasts and you read interviews and stuff, you really get a vibe like how happy everybody is there. Like they're not just happy
right, yeah,
with their friends, but they're happy with the company, and they feel like they can be free there, which is great to see, especially when you see how a lot of these talents are handled in WWF.
hmm
So, but yeah, I guess we could wrap it up, but I just want to, again, like we said last week, we want to start just having people on. We want to be more interactive, like less
absolutely,
just us yapping about this stuff only. We kind of want to have other people get their opinion out there. So, um, like our thing says here, join us on Skype. Just follow that link in the description. Get in our chat for people who listen to the podcast, and then from there we can launch you guys into the show and have you hop on with us. Feel free to talk to us in the live chat on YouTube, and we just want to be a little more interactive and kind of make it an interactive show. Right now we're just off the cuff. We're not, I have a couple little things written down from the shows and stuff, and kind of things that come off the top of my head, and it's early on, so we're a little scattershot, but bear with us, and I think turn out to be a fun show. And
yep,
like, subscribe, send us emails if you have questions. We'll talk. I'll pull them up on the show and answer. Give you my opinion or give your opinion, and I'll read your opinion on the show. And we got Eddie in the chat. Hogan, that fucking jerk off.
I'm sorry, I'm on his side. We should
Oh my
maybe
god.
once I have a debate, man. We've been talking about that for a while now. I'd like to have a debate. Obviously,
There's no debate. He sucks.
you would need a tag team partner because it would be me and Eddie just ganging up on you. But I would say find somebody and we should do a debate.
Fuck Hogan. This is AEW podcast, buddy. Hey Eddie, stop clogging up our chat on YouTube with that bullshit. Put a real worker in there. But no, seriously. So anyway, like I said, I mean, for right now, we're just gonna do these. back and forth until we get some more people checking us out week to week. We're going to probably start talking to some friends that watch AEW and try to get them on with us until we get some more people who just listen to the show to hop on more frequently. So, for now, we're just kind of scattershotting it. Like we're all over the fucking place and hemming and hawing, but we're just getting into the rhythm of it. But check the website out. Where I'm still working on getting the audio feed up. But check the website. I think I have the feed up there where you click it and it should go into your podcast app. I'm not 100% sure if that'll work. I've never done it off of a website. I always just search on the apps. I don't think we're set up in the apps yet, like iTunes and all that. I think it's coming. Like I said, use the email address to send us any comments or questions or things you want out there on the show. And of course the Skype. I think the Skype is where we're gonna do our main, because we're gonna bring you in through Skype onto the show. So definitely you want to get in on that Skype chat and be in there, and from there we could launch you into the show. So that's pretty much it, man. I don't know if you got anything to close out, Alan. Like, subscribe, share,
Yep. Yeah, we got a nice community on Facebook as well. So definitely, look up AEW Uncensored Podcast on Facebook. We've got an AEW Uncensored page in general as well. So got a good community there. So that's another spot to hang out, to chat, talk about things, about this podcast, but also about anything else AEW related as well. So yeah.
All right. I guess that's it.
All right.
All right, everybody. Thanks for checking us out, and we'll get better as we go, man. This is episode 2.
Yeah, it's unpolished, but that's cool. We're become polished diamonds as we move along.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
I'm not as articulate as Alan.
And I'm not as knowledgeable as Bill, so we're kind of playing off in that regard. So
God, I felt like today I was tripping over myself, just I couldn't get my thoughts out.
All right, and you know what? I do want to address one more thing before we leave, because Eddie just posted a question of the recent talent released from WWE. Who would you like to see in AEW? Who would you think would shine the best? So we actually addressed this in our very first show.
The first episode.
We spent a good amount of time talking about it, running through the list, who we thought would be almost like top draft picks, so to speak. So Eddie, and to anybody else who is interested, it's a very good question. Definitely check out the first episode that we recorded last week. And we do spend a good amount of time addressing that very thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, and listen, another thing, I kind of wanted to touch base on this earlier. We kind of just went a different direction. But just because we feel this way and we mention these guys, we get it. AEW is not going to get all these guys. They're not going to go after everybody. It's just talk, guys.
It's fantasy booking. It's fantasy booking.
Relax, because I know goddamn well somebody will listen and be like, these fucking guys think that they can pick up everybody. You know how people are. You see it on the groups, because you see it in the groups. People will be like, I want X, Y, and Z to come, or they should pick up these 5 guys, and everybody's like, they can't take everybody. Blah blah blah. Calm down, man. It's a discussion. That's all we're here for.
It's complete fantasy booking. It's as if you're trying to argue who would you want your favorite baseball team. They don't necessarily have the budget to afford them. It's
fun. It's discussion. It's chat. So
yeah.
Eddie, go back and wait. What do you? Eddie, can I spell? That's funny. That's a shot at one of our other friends. But oh man. I could somewhat spell. So, yeah, definitely go check out the first episode to see some of our thoughts on some of the booking options. Or not even booking, some of our choices for some of those dropped talents to come over to AEW. Mm-hmm. And all right, guys, thanks again, Alan. It was fun, and
same here.
We'll be back next week.
All right, peace.
Peace.